Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, December 28th, after the Celtics win over I'm blanking who they played. Why am I blanking?
Pacers.
The Pacers. They beat the Pacers. They play the Pacers again today as you're listening to this after a couple bad losses to the Sixers and Magic. We're in the dog days of the NBA season, I suppose. New Year's is right around the corner. All-Star game coming up in February. We're smack dab in the middle of things. How you doing, Sam?
Doing good. It's nice to be sitting here off of a win. A rare thing around these parts now, I guess. All of a sudden they suck again. But nonetheless, we have a fun show for you. We're going to talk about whether or not they actually suck, as Jack told me before, and we've been doing for the last week. We're also going to talk about a former fan favorite that might want to come back to the NBA and talk about Jaylen's award win. Then we'll go through your emails, look around the NBA, talk about some nonsense there. Then we'll do the rat list and get up out of here. So make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, because Jack and I are here every single day with new content. Full pods like this one drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. We have game recaps morning after each game. And other videos are up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. So let's not waste any more time. We can get right into it, Jack.
Yeah. So you always add a little motherfucking tidbit of shit after you go, Jack. Go ahead.
Nobody's got a better hezzy than me.
Oh my fucking!
I wish I could hezzy in real life.
What the what? Bobby Manning of Celtics blog and CLNS Media wrote an article talking about the differences between last year's Celtics and this year's Celtics, and so you put it on here. Figure we could talk about it. It is a good discussion point. And I mean, the intro of his article is Celtics just did something they didn't do all of last season after a late comeback attempt against the Sixers on Christmas. Fell flat with a defensive lapse against Maxey. Boston lost their third of 4 games. So that's something that didn't happen all last year. It felt like this team was different to last year's. Bobby made some points throughout this article. And I think the general talking point, as spoiled as the Celtics fan base should feel and is, to watch this team, regardless of if they are not quite as good as the historic team they got to watch last year, is should there be worries or concerns about whether or not this team can win a title this year, even if not in the same dominant manner as they did last year, because there are some pretty clear differences as to what this team looks like versus what last year's team looks like.
I mean, listen, it's just simply no fun if there's no, what if they aren't good? What if the Celtics are actually frauds? If you don't get to discuss that, you might as well not even watch the games, because there's no room for expectations to be shattered, which is sarcasm, but it's actually a little bit true. Like, when you expect them to win every game, it's not as satisfying when they win. I don't think we should make things up and be like, hey, they actually might suck just to entertain people. But I think this discussion comes at a reasonable time where, yes, they just beat the brakes off the Pacers yesterday, but it doesn't erase that they've really been mid all month, which is very uncharacteristic of them. I don't have it in front of me. I can look it up while I'm talking. But last year, I don't know if they had a month like this where they were kind of hot and cold throughout the whole time. I'm going to load up Basketball Reference as we speak, because I got my 2 computers set up now where I can look things up and not be worried about crashing my stream.
They weren't as good in November, but they did have a nice win streak in the middle in November. And I mean, I say not as good. They were obviously good, but they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They were, 11-4, which I don't know what they're on pace this month in December, but they lost 4 times in November last year. They lost a lot towards the end of the season. They had a stretch where they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, went 5-4 in end of March, beginning of April, but they were resting guys at that point. So there certainly weren't as many stretches. They had a pretty rough January when they lost to Utah, OKC, Indiana, Milwaukee, and Denver and LA in the month, and then lost to the Lakers on the 1st of February right after. So that was probably their worst stretch. They went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they went 11-6 in that period. That's probably the closest thing you got. But losing 3 and 4 is certainly something that they didn't do last year because they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They are now 6 and 5 in their last 11.
Not the best stretch I've ever seen. Got to be honest with you. But listen, teams go through stretches, they get bored. Like I think there is something to be said about the Celtics may just simply be bored. I feel like a lot of fans are bored. I mean, if you're on the team, it's a little different. Can't say if you're putting the jersey on, you
Mhm.
should feel the same way as old Joey Southey over there watching the team and being like, just give me the playoffs already. But I think it can be difficult at times to get up for games against like a team like Chicago that's like, whatever. They're like a very whatever team. We've seen in the past the Celtics play down to their competition. It was a characteristic of non-championship teams. Last year, they did a great job at pretty much squashing everybody that they were supposed to squash, and it was very impressive. I think asking them to maintain that level of focus for 2 years straight is a little difficult without expecting a lapse every once in a while, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the 22-23 Nuggets as an example. And from November 11th to December 16th, they went 6 and 7. And then at the end of the season, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I believe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 and 10 to end the season. So we're talking about 2 below 500 stretches for the team that ended up winning the championship that year. It happens. I feel like people were so spoiled with just how good the Celtics were last year. Like 60-win seasons don't happen every year. 64-win
They ought
seasons
to
happen
happen more often.
even more rare or even less frequently, I should say. Like they won over 80% of their games, I think it was. I think that's happened like 10 times ever or something like that many like a few amount of times ever. That level of winning is not a regularity. It's not a commonality. It's something that was a product of how good the Celtics were. And I'm not saying that, oh, this team is going to be just as dominant, just wait up. I'm saying like the Celtics may be worse than last year, but that's not because they're a bad team. That's because last year was an insanely high bar. Um, so it's tough. It is what it is. Bobby goes into some other points in this article as well of, defense hasn't quite been on point. Some other stuff like that. Inconsistencies that Joe mentioned. Talked about the injuries as well, which is another thing to keep note of. Like Celtics have had far more absences and people out than
It's
they did
true.
last year. Porzingis being out, Drew Holiday is now missing some time. Sam Hauser's dealing with a back injury. Even Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have missed stuff here and there with illnesses and other sporadic small things. So it's tough with that as well. And honestly, teams just got better. Like NBA teams around the league have gotten better this season. The Knicks are better. The Milwaukee Bucks, for as much as they struggled, are better now than they were at the start of the season, right? Teams are, as Bobby mentioned in his article, matching what the Celtics do. They're taking more threes. They're getting creative. They know how good the Celtics are, so they're thinking of different ways to try to beat them, i.e. the Grizzlies leaving Drew Holiday open. So it is not only are the Celtics another year in and dealing with a few more injuries and having to deal with the insanely high bar that they set for themselves last year, but other teams around the league have gotten a lot better, have grown, and have had an extra year of seeing, okay, this is what the Celtics are. How do we beat them?
It's true. And like you said, and like Bobby wrote, the different curveballs the Celtics are seeing this year. I don't think they are beat the Celtics 4 out of 7 times good, but the Memphis thing was eye opening because it was like, man, a team could just pull this out in a playoff game. Like, let's say it's like a game 5 or something crazy where it's 2-2. Both teams need a win. I don't know if you do this in a game 7. I think it's too risky. Look at Milwaukee 2 years ago when they tried to do it to Grant. You can see when it goes the opposite way too. But it's very possible that it could swing a big playoff game if someone's like, "Hey, Drew, get ready to shoot all the shots, buddy," and he's not on that day. It really disrupted the offense, and I think Chicago and other teams just kind of getting privy to the 3-point math. And I mean, Chicago's been a better team this year than we all thought that they were going to be. I don't think it's been a Celtics exclusive strategy. And it's helped them win more games than they probably would have had they been near the bottom of the league shooting again like they were last year. Another thing we've seen teams do the Celtics is try and push them around. That's another thing that happened in the Chicago game that they lost here last week was Celtics were getting frustrated. They were complaining to the officials. They were in their own heads. Jaylen even talked about it after the Pacers win yesterday, where he was like, listen, anytime we can lock in and not really think about the officials and be complaining about the officials, it does us some good.
Sorry. I'm
I understand.
I can't, man. Yeah, I mean, it was a weird stretch there where it just felt like after every game the Celtics were complaining to officials. I mean, Jaylen himself did it like unprompted after a couple games last week, I think. I don't know. I'm not personally worried about the Celtics team. I think what you said stands out.
I would try again. Whatever you just said went complete robot, like your
Oh, really?
server crashed. You're all right
Oh.
now, but it was like 3
Oh.
seconds of
Really?
yes.
I didn't have Wi-Fi symbol or anything. Okay.
It
Well,
happens
what I
every
was
once in a
saying
while.
what I was saying was I'm gonna go back and edit it. If it was on your end, I'm gonna put a note in the
It could
podcast.
be, but I haven't had
Just
the
in
symbol
case.
either.
No, I
Like
know.
I've been pretty clean today, and I told Jack before we did this. I went through the house, shut everything off. I'm not playing any games with the internet. None.
We'll see. Yeah, it's just your own personal lags that are getting me today. What I was saying was I'm not personally too worried about the Celtics team. I think it is what it is. I think what you said earlier in the show makes a ton of sense in the sense of maybe they're just bored. Like it's I was impressed with the way they stuck through the regular season last year and had such consistent success. And I think as much as Joe Mazzulla wants to avoid the championship hangover and doesn't want to defend the title, wants to win a second one, it is inevitable for a team that just experienced the high of all highs in the NBA world of winning a title, especially as dominantly as the Celtics did, to be like, fuck, we got to play a regular season game against the injured Magic at the end of December. Like, this is fucking boring. Like it's normal. Like I mean, like when you experience winning a championship in dominant fashion, and you're into your second straight season with the same group, not that they are bored or dislike the group they have, like you get bored of the same. It's why all of you people listening enjoy summer league. It's why all you people listening enjoy free agency. Like people want new shit. People want the next new fun thing to be put in front of their face. And so this Celtics team, for as amazing, and they are amazing at sticking to the game plan, following the process, trying not to pay too much attention to the results, as Joe Mazzulla talked to us about last night as we're recording this against the Pacers. It's inevitable. Like it's human nature to get a little bit bored, and they responded to that boredom that was clearly there against the Sixers with a fucking 37-point win against the Pacers. And I'm not concerned because I truly believe, and I said this all of last season, and they proved me right, that when it comes time for the playoffs, these guys know what's at stake. They understand what is there. I'm not saying this as an excuse or to give them a pass to do fuck all during the regular season. Like this isn't just do whatever you want, coast through, win 50 games, make the playoffs, figure it out. No, you still want to establish home court. You still want to try to get the 1 seed if possible, even though the Cavs are running away. You still want to have a top seed in the Eastern Conference so you can have that for the postseason. And you want to go into the postseason on a good note. But I'm not going to panic here if they lose 3 and 4, or not that they should do doing that too often, but every once in a while, if they fall flat and have a dud game, they had them last year. Look at the Lakers game. Look how insignificant that is now. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be too concerned because I know what these guys are capable of. They know what they're capable of. And most importantly, as Joe Mazzulla established last year, if they lose a game, they're not going to put their head in their ass and cry about it. They don't care. Like, they don't care if they win or lose. They care about how they play. And Jaylen said it last night. He like apologized to Celtics fans. Like, yeah, we didn't play well enough on Christmas for the people that wanted to come out for that game. That's our bad. Like, we know we got to be better. Like, they understand. So I'm not too concerned. I get why people could be concerned, but I don't think their recent play is anything to start panicking over because the body of work they put in before that should speak volumes. It should speak enough.
Yeah, I think that the Lakers game last year is one that came to mind when I was about to be like, well, they should have got up for Christmas. It's a big deal. It's at home. It's a rivalry game. It's on the big stage. Blah blah blah. Because like just thinking about it, it's like, man, they should have got up, but they should have got up for the Lakers game last year. And then LeBron and Anthony Davis didn't play, and then they kind of played like they did against the Hawks in that game where they gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds. I remember in that game, the Lakers had double digits, I think, by the end of the first quarter. Like Jackson Hayes dominated. And I guess that happens. Like you said, last year, the playoffs rolled around and the Celtics were all business, even when they lost game 2 of the first round. And I was ready to end it all, ready to just call the season off and be like, listen, these guys still can't get it for real. But I think they do earn a benefit of the doubt now more than before because we've seen what they can do with this group, in particular under Joe Mazzulla, with the personnel that they have, that when the stakes are there, I think they are going to show up. Even if we all consider the stakes high for a certain game, Joe was at the podium yesterday and insisted that it was one of 82 before the game yesterday. He was like, listen, yeah, the Pacers play us well, and we usually have close games against them. The playoff series was a really competitive one, but it's game whatever of 82. Like, it does not mean more than the last.
I need to take a quick break in the action here to talk to you guys about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. If you are familiar with the channel, How About Them Celtics, you know that Sam and I use PrizePicks on the pregame show all the time. Going into Celtics games, we love picking the more on Jason Tatum points, the more on Derek White blocks, the more on Peyton Pritchard, everything this season, and the more on opposing player turnovers. That's the fun one for us. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Join now because this holiday season, PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. And you can now win up to 1,000 extra money on PrizePicks. Let me rephrase that for you guys. 1,000 extra money on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. 100%. I'm not concerned. If I had to put my concern level on a scale of 1 to 10 for this team, I'll put it at I'll give you a 1.7. It's just not there, man. Like, I get slumps happen. Like, I wonder if they went through any 3-point slumps last year. I can't remember off the top of my head. I would have to look. But actually, I'll look right now if you want to give your, 1 to 10 decimal whatever rating of concerns level for this team. But I don't know if you've got one.
Off the top of my head, my ranking is probably around the same as yours. I'd probably put it at a 2 just because of some of the injury stuff. Like Porzingis can't play more than 2 games in a row without having to leave halfway through. I think that's not great, but then you could be like, well, Sam, they won all the playoff games without Porzingis last year. So what does that
It's
matter?
true. It's true.
I think one thing I would be curious about genuinely is like, at what point, Joe Mazzulla, what point do you get into enough of a slump or you're losing enough where the results aren't good, where you do actually have to change the process? I guess you really have to lose a ton of games, maybe have a season where you crash out because, like, yes, they usually return to the mean, but I think there is going to come a point eventually where they got to do something. They have to adjust something.
If you had the balls for it, that'd be a great question to actually ask him.
No, I would ask him that, and I would probably ask him like pregame. I wouldn't ask him like after they lose or something, like because I'm not trying to break his balls. I'm just curious.
You should.
Like, what does it actually take?
Yeah. Looking at last year, the only stretch I can find that was truly like, oh wow, they're shooting like shit from 3 is from February 9th from January 19th to February 9th, it looks like ish. They shot 32% from 3 in the loss to Denver, 36% from 3. 36%, 33%, but then they shot 55, but then back down to 25, 37, 47, and then 33, 37, 34, 32. So that's the roughest stretch that I can find. And they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They went 8-3 in that stretch. So they still did pretty all right. this year even this year, I think we're talking about their offensive struggles. I don't think. I mean, it's a pretty bad 1-2-3. Chicago, Orlando. They shot 25, 33, 24. So that little 3-game stretch isn't ideal. But outside of that, like they've been pretty consistent with the 3-ball. Actually, at the end of October, beginning of November, they were pretty rough from 3. They just went 3-2, 33, 31, 31, 33, 35, 26.
Yeah, last year it was like
But
they won the first 5, then they lose to Minnesota, lose to Philly, and
that was
they
this year.
lost. Oh, this year?
That was this year. Yeah, at
They
the end
went
of
3
October,
and 2?
beginning of November. Yeah, they went.
They lost to
Lost
Pacers,
it.
Warriors. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, lost to Indy, beat Charlotte, Atlanta, then lost to the Warriors in between.
Right, and then they had
yeah.
like the loss to the Hawks, and the Nets game was probably too close too, and it was like, what is going on here? Yeah, it's true. Maybe that
Yeah,
means
it
it's
is what it
more
is,
than
though.
just this month then. Maybe there is reason to be concerned, but we don't need to do another 10 minutes
No,
on this. We've talked about it plenty.
I think it's just the volume. They're taking more, so you're just not always going to shoot as efficient, and they're trading out that efficiency consistency for volume consistency. And I think Joe Mazzulla likes it that way because if you shoot 5% worse from 3, but you take 10 more and you get X amount of extra threes per game, it's pretty good. Like I think he'll take those extra points. But the key is you have to have good transition defense. You have to have good half court defense. You have to have good like other factors to make that math work. And some of those things I think have been slipping more than the threes themselves. So
That's
I don't
part
think
of
the
what made
offense
the
is an
win
issue.
yesterday
Exactly.
so like lopsided is they were so engaged
Yeah.
defensively. Like Jaylen from the beginning, he has 4 steals. Jason Tatum sets the tone with a steal on the first play. Like it's real.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's jump over to the next thing, which is Tacko Fall, who's eyeing an NBA return. This is Sam Yip of Hoops Hype, who he spoke to. And he asked Tacko, how tough has it been for you in your journey of trying to get back to the NBA? Tacko said, for me, I've just been taking it by the day, haven't been focused on how hard it's going to be. I believe I have the skill set. I mean, obviously, I have the size. I don't know. I do know I have the skill set. I wasn't fortunate to be in the situations where I have a lot of opportunities to be able to show that. So when that opportunity comes, I just got to show that even when I was in 2 great organizations. I mean, I love being with the Celtics. People really believed in me, but it was just not the right situation for me to be able to have the chance to be on the court a lot. At this point, I think that's all I need, which makes sense. And not that I think Taco's going to be the next coming of Yao Ming, but it does tell you something about for players to reach their ceiling. They have to be in a great situation to be able to get the playing time and reach that.
Yeah, I don't really know where in the NBA he fits. It's tough because I know he's put in work to try and shoot the ball better. Like when he was here, he would occasionally take a 3, and I don't know if he ever made a 3. I know he made a long 2 with his foot on the line. Everybody thought was a 3. I just don't know if he moves well enough. Like, can you imagine the Celtics playing a game against a team that has Tacko? With
Yeah,
the
I
ball
mean,
firing around.
he just needs a team to take a chance of him to show that he can move. As stupid as it sounds, like if there's a team out there who doesn't necessarily have the best center rotation and is rebuilding and wants to sign him to a G League contract, like I think that might be it. But the issue is he's 29, so it's not exactly like he's a young prospect. So you would need to prove that he's willing, like maybe the Pacers, because they don't really have many centers right now. If they want to bring him on and say, hey, I'll give you a 10-day, we'll take a look, see what you got, put him in the G League. But
True.
it's just tough, man, because like you said, he doesn't move well in today's NBA. You almost not even almost, you have to move well if you want to play consistently, which
you
is
really have to be able to
true.
shoot, with the exception of like the elite at like, let's say like a Rudy, or I mean, even Rob is learning how to shoot. It's very difficult for you to be in the NBA and not be a consistent shooter. It makes it so much more difficult for your team to perform at the absolute best, or for you to have a massive role, which Tacko will not have.
I was gonna say I'll push back on that a little bit because I don't think you have to shoot to be a center in today's NBA. I think you need to shoot to
I think
be.
Luke is great too.
Yeah, like I think that's maybe a bit too Celtics lens because the reason the Celtics are so good is because their bigs can shoot, but that is not like the regular thing in the league. Like not like they're like pretty much the only team whose both bigs can shoot the 3-ball so well, which is why they are so good. Like you look around the league, you'd be pressed to find a lot of teams who have 2 true bigs or multiple like true 30+ minute centers that both shoot the ball super well. Like even look at the other team. Like I'll look around the best teams in the NBA. Cavs, Jared Allen doesn't shoot, right? The Knicks, you have Karl Anthony Towns, but past that, what other center on their roster shoots threes? Like Mitchell Robinson doesn't, Jericho Sims doesn't. The Magic, Goga Batiste doesn't shoot threes. The Bucks, Brook Lopez does shoot threes. Bobby Portis does shoot threes, so maybe they're the example you want to look at. But Giannis doesn't really shoot threes, and he's starting at the power forward for them. The Heat have Bam, who is trying a little bit, but they don't really have a backup center who does it too often. The Thunder, Chet does. Isaiah Hartenstein doesn't. The Grizzlies don't have really any. Jay Huff maybe a little bit. Zach Edey doesn't. The Rockets have Steven Adams playing a lot of minutes and Şengün, who doesn't really take threes. So I'm not saying like it's like it would help Tacko if he could shoot threes, obviously. But there's tons of centers around the league, especially role players like Luke Cornett, Drew Eubanks, right? You look at Zach Edey. Like there's plenty of guys around the league who you can throw backup rotation center minutes to who don't shoot.
And there's also something to, I mean, listen, I think the movement is the key here because even thinking about offensively, one of the reasons why a player like Rob Williams worked so well for the Celtics is because he was an elite physical specimen. The man could jump out the gym. He was giving you vertical spacing where you couldn't get the actual floor spacing. With Luke, he's so quick to catch and finish. I don't really think Tacko has that. He's just kind of too awkward. Like it doesn't really work for him. And that's the tough part. I mean, sure. Do I think the Pacers could take a swing on somebody like Tacko? Oh, yeah. I thought Thomas Bryant was fine yesterday, but when they've had two of their main big dudes get hurt with torn ACLs, it's kind of, I mean, I guess Wiseman tore his Achilles, I think. I don't think he tore his ACL. He tore something that is something you don't want to tear. Make no mistake.
Achilles, yeah. But not exactly fun for either of those guys. I don't know how many of these are directly Tacko highlights, but this is some highlights from a game he played in. If we want to just take a look at this briefly. Tacko bullying the New Zealand center down there. Just hanging out.
How tall do we think this guy is? He doesn't
probably
listen.
6'10".
Subjective next to Tacko is tough too. Like nobody's gonna look very tall next to him, but
I bet he's 6'10", maybe 6'9". I don't know. Tacko's not even in the game for these. It's Jonah Bolden. Oh yeah, probably. I should turn this off. Point is, I don't know. I'm rooting for Tacko. Do I think he'll be back in the NBA? Probably not, but would be cool to see him get in and get that chance. Next thing, Jaylen Brown was named SI Player of the Year. Chris Mannix named it. I'll let you read it because you put it on this thing.
Yeah, so yesterday it came out that Jaylen had received this honor, and the award goes to somebody that really hits their peak on and off the field or court, whatever sport they're playing. I guess they do this kind of award for every single sport, and Jaylen was the winner for the NBA, which is really cool. Obviously, the Celtics win banner 18. Jaylen is Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He is Finals MVP, and those kind of successes, Mannix writes, fueled him to invest further in his off-court efforts aimed at benefiting his community, both near and far. Last summer, flush with success, Jaylen shared it. In 2023, shortly after signing his record-breaking contract, Brown declared war on the wealth disparity in Boston, launching plans to create a quote-unquote Black Wall Street in the city. In August, those plans were actualized in the form of the Boston Exchange, an initiative to create $5 billion in generational wealth in communities of color. I believe that when you invest in the creator, in the culture, it strengthens entire cities, Jaylen told the Globe earlier this year. Mannix also cites Jaylen's brand launch, the 741s, as well as his seat as vice president of the Players Union. So it really has been a great year for Jaylen, especially considering that he could have had an even better year had he been a part of the Olympics. And that became a big story in itself because a lot of people felt like Jaylen shouldn't have been excluded, including Jaylen. And Jaylen wasn't really quiet about that. So the fact that he has kind of taken that and made a spite brand, not really a spite brand, but kind of a spite brand to compete with these big shoe companies. And he's wearing them every game. He has Peyton Pritchard wearing the shoes every game. Jack got them to have a nice little moment at the press conference yesterday by asking about it. And listen, like Jaylen said it, like he's pushing for Peyton to win Sixth Man of the Year. If Peyton wins Sixth Man of the Year and he's a 7'4" athlete who apparently is supposed to be getting a signature shoe, unless I'm lying to you. I think that, have you heard that too?
No,
I might be lying to you. But nonetheless, Pritchard's playing incredible basketball, the best of his NBA career, and he's wearing Jaylen's shoes. Whether or not you think the shoes like matter or mean anything, like you can't dispute that all these
Yes.
Peyton Pritchard highlights are happening, and people are buzzing about Peyton Pritchard, and he's wearing the product. Like, that's what's on his feet.
100%. Yes. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, good for Jaylen, man. Obviously had a pretty damn good year. Eastern Conference Finals MVP, helped the Celtics win a championship. All the stuff he did off the court has been even more incredible than his accomplishments on the court. So, good for SI, good for Chris Mannix. I couldn't think of a better option for this award. It's just, it was pretty obvious. I mean, it was a layup, right? You take the layups when they're given to you. So good for them. But let's jump over to the email here. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. Again, that is hbtcpod@gmail.com. Make sure to shoot us an email. We read the emails every single full podcast, so get them in as soon as you can. We'd appreciate it very much. We have a few today to go over. Let me pull them up here. It's been a minute since we have gone over them. But before we do the emails, I need to tell you guys about Gametime. So for all your ticketing needs, you need to make sure to be using Gametime. I'm going to pull it up here so we can go over some of the best deals possible
Pull it up.
you can find coming up today. Obviously, you've got Celtics games. If you want to hit up some Celtics games, you can go there. If you want to see the Fever play the Connecticut Sun, because they're going to be there at TD
Making
Garden
summer plans.
this upcoming season. So Caitlin Clark's going to be in Boston for those of you who want to go check that out. But let's just check out the Indiana Pacers game tomorrow or today as you're listening to this. Actually, let's go even further into the future. Let's find a game that we can go out to. Let's look at this Magic. The Magic are coming to Boston. Obviously, the Magic got the best of the Celtics the last time these two teams scored off. So Celtics gonna be looking for a little bit of revenge when they go to this one. The best part of Gametime, or at least my favorite part about Gametime, is that you can click on a seat and see what your view is. So you look at this one right here, and you get a clear view of what you're going to be seeing from your seat. You look all the way up here, and you can see again a clear view of what you're going to be seeing. But then they have these little symbols next. So fire symbol, cheapest ticket. So this is the cheapest one you can possibly get to this Magic game. You see stars over here. Found a great deal. It tells you the great deal. And the best part on top of that is it tells you the exact price you're going to be paying for that ticket, including fees. So you're not going to these other websites where they'll tell you the price and then you get to check out and you're like, wait, why is it $100 more expensive? Oh, that's because they added the fees. That's not how Gametime does it. So I love that a lot. That's all in pricing. Again, you got the seat, views, lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference too. So you definitely know you're getting the best deal possible. It is the best way, and I say that as a guy who has used Gametime in the past to buy
my
tickets.
parents' Christmas gifts with it.
Exactly. This is what I used all throughout college, and ever since then as well. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, let's get right back into the email there. Sorry, had to interrupt going to the great RJ Johnson for just a moment, but we're going to go to him right now with the first email of the day. Scrooged. Evening, folks. This is after Christmas, I assume. Or no, this is before Christmas. Evening, folks. Well, the Celtics got visited by the ghost of third quarters past in Orlando, and the result was the worst of times. People can say that this proves Boston needs Tatum, but there should be no way a decimated Magic squad does this to this Celtics team. I'll get back to the midwinter spirit on Wednesday. Tonight, it's just bah humbug. Be well, RJ, and lover of things, Dickinsonian.
Poor RJ had no idea what was coming.
Dickinson. Yeah, I know. I will say though, I agree. I'm not going to make an excuse. Celtics should not lose to that Magic squad.
Absolutely not.
That Magic squad is good, man. Like as much as they are without Paolo and Franz, like this is not the exception. Like the Celtics weren't the exception to the rule. They have been playing teams tough and been a competitive basketball team since those guys went down. Like
Correct.
Again, I wholly understand the concern and the not concern, but like the disappointment that the Celtics lost to them. They are more talented by far. And this Magic team has been losing, right? They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6-3, or 3-6, excuse me, in their last 9. Not good. But among them, they lost pretty bad to the Knicks last night. They lost by 13, but 1 point loss to the Heat. They beat the Celtics. They beat the Heat. 6-point loss to the Thunder. 9-point loss to the Knicks. Only 5-point loss to the Bucks. They beat the Suns. And then they had Wagner before that. So they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're 3-5 since those guys went down. And of their losses, 1, 2, 3 have been within 6 points, like 2 possessions. Like they're still a competitive basketball team, man. I'm not making excuses for the Celtics because there is no excuse. You're the more talented team. You should win the game, and they were up by a lot, so they should win the game. But I'm not going to sit here and say like that team's better than the fucking Wizards and the Hornets and a lot of the Jazz and the Blazers. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. I think it's okay to hold the Celtics accountable without shit talking the Magic because that's a good Magic team, regardless.
I mean, they're good, but I mean, the Celtics gave up like 18
I
points. The guy
I
never heard
100%,
of. Like,
100%. They should
never
not.
heard of him. Still can't tell you his name today. I think his last name was
Trevelin
Green.
Queen. Trevelin
Queen.
Queen.
I had the last phonetic sound right.
Yeah.
Can't take that away from me.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, I want to look at their stats, the player stats in their last 8 games. Just because. Sorry, I'm traversing NBA.com. Trevelin Queen has been good though, like regardless of how well he played against Celtics. He's averaging 8 points on 54-47 splits in the last 8 games. Like he's been playing really good. Jalen Suggs is averaging 21, 5 and 4. Goga Bitadze is averaging 13 and 12. Tristan DeSilva is averaging 12, 3 and 1. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is averaging 10. Anthony Black's averaging 10. Cole Anthony's averaging 9. Like they just got guys who step up. Jamal Mosley is a good coach, and Celtics got caught with their pants down. But next thing, John Blanchard says, new lineup versus Orlando. Merry Christmas, Sam and Jack. For a good chunk of the second quarter against Orlando, Joe rolled out 3 point guards in KP and Luke, followed by KP and Horford. Felt rather Cavaliers-esque. How did you guys like these lineups? Can this be an effective way to rest Tatum and Brown at the same time? Bonus question, pick 2 players to go round out a triple big lineup. I'm going with JB and Pritchard. Keep up the good work and go Celtics. John. I mean, I think I talked about this last night when the Celtics played Tatum and Brown for the whole first quarter against Indy. Like, I would like lineups where those guys can play that much, then get a little 5-minute break or even less if you want to. And you can run Derek White and Pritchard together, even with Drew, and do triple guards and have them run the offense with double bigs. So I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a creative way to rest the guys, and I think it works when you're up a bunch of points. Like, listen, make no mistake, like the Celtics started the Orlando game really well. They turned them over a bunch. Like it looked like it was going to be a great win for the Celtics. It looked like they were in firm control. Then you kind of look up and it's like, oh, this game is competitive now. I don't have the memory off the top of my head of whether or not this was what moved the needle and kind of changed the momentum of the game where they didn't really know what they were doing with the triple bigs out there. I think the Celtics have the bigs to be able to do this. The skill sets are diverse. I think it works. But at the same time, I don't think you're going to be able to defend as consistently and rotate as consistently if you do this. So I think they should actually stray away from it.
Ooh, really? Wait.
I think that they
purposes.
Because like think about it, Jack. If you get caught in rotation, who's going to be able to get out quicker? Kristaps or somebody like Derek White?
Oh, you're against the double big lineups, is what you're saying.
Triple big.
Triple bigs. Oh. I thought you were talking about the triple guards. I was like, I feel like that'd be a pretty quick rotating team.
No.
I see.
Triple bigs.
Yeah, no. Triple bigs, I'm out on. I don't think they've run triple bigs.
Oh, 3 guards. I'm confused.
I was like, what?
It does make sense to have 3 guards, especially if you're going to play
yes.
heavy. My mistake. But just in case you're thinking about it, don't run 3 bigs.
That's his bonus question. I agree. I don't think triple bigs is good.
Way.
Yeah, I think if you were to run triple bigs, it would probably be best with Derek White and Jason Tatum, just because those guys are such a good 2-man action. Or maybe you want Pritchard and somebody else, but I think those guys are the most versatile, especially ball handling wise and scoring wise. So, but thanks, John. RJ says, can't beat perfection. Happy Christmas evening, folks. Despite the ball result, funky stat of the Orlando Philly game, Celtics shot 30 of 40 from the free throw line for 75%. Unfortunately, the Magic and Sixers didn't miss, going a combined 40 for 40. And coincidentally, the Celtics lost by a combined 10 points. Also, the Celtics have committed 31 turnovers in those 2 games, which is definitely a lump of coal in the collective stocking. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I mean, listen, 30 of 40 from the free throw line isn't great. I think 75% is probably around league average, so I don't think it's like the end of the world. It's still not like what you want. 40 for 40 is crazy, though. I didn't realize that.
Celtics should actually try going 40 for 40. Maybe they wouldn't embarrass themselves on the national stage.
Would be cool. Would be nice to see them go 40 for 40. I think people would appreciate that a little bit.
It is fun when they miss free throws. Like I was sitting up there, I think it actually was on Wednesday. and they had missed it. I think Jaylen went 0 for 2 in the fourth quarter, and I'm sitting next to Terp, and Terp just goes, I mean, like, I'm not joking, like, I could have made that shot. I love being able to be like, "Yes, I could have made that." Like, I would have made that.
Yes. Well, could and would have is different things. But yeah, you got to make those shots. Next one. RJ again, defensive intensity all the way through. Morning, folks. It's from a couple days ago. Sometimes it's staring us in the face. Celtics records on games where the Celtics win the rebounding battle, 14-2. Celtics record in games where with a negative board margin, 8-6. If you want to talk about focus or intensity when the C's are collecting rebounds, it's a good sign that they are locked in. Be well, RJ. I agree with this. I also wonder if it's a little skewed because games where they lose the rebound battle, that probably just means the other team is making more shots than them. So I'd be
Yes.
curious to know how many of those games that they also just got outscored / out efficiency.
The Celtics did out rebound the piss out of the Sixers on Wednesday, though. I remember looking like, you know how like in the Garden they have it on the ring of the like the video board that goes around underneath the balcony. Like they have the score and they have like turnover. Like Celtics had like another like 19 rebounds more than Philly did.
Damn shame. A damn shame. Yeah. I mean, rebounding is definitely important. I mean, I spent the whole pod last night, or the Pacers pod, talking about how great Tatum was rebounding the ball and how important that was. But I also don't think it's a complete coincidence that you miss more shots, the other team probably gets rebounds. They make more shots, you probably get fewer rebounds. So I think that's certainly a part of it as well. But
it is insane how long. Like I feel like there was a significant amount of time where people in our field, like in our space, before our time, nonetheless, like this was not us. It might have been us for a little bit. That was like, yeah, gotta win the rebounding battle. It's a must. And it's like really like the rebounding battle, much to your point, as well as assists, has a lot to do with whether or not the shots are going in. Like,
yeah,
assists are another thing where you can be like, they didn't move the ball. They only had 13 assists. It's like, yeah, well, they could have had this many assists, but they couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. So
it's tough. That's why potential assists are so important. And I mean, I think Joe's said it a ton of times. Like he wishes potential assists were in the box score because I think they're very important. Next email from Carol Hart. Oh, I don't know if this is supposed to be on the show, but we'll put it on here. HBTC shirt picture. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for the kind words about the t-shirt I designed. I was thrilled to hear your reactions on the podcast. I'm attaching the PNG file I used for the design along with the PowerPoint file I used to create it. Feel free to use them however you'd like. You can tweak it, use it as inspiration for the future designs or anything else you can think of. I hope you enjoy it. Happy holidays, Caro. This is just, dude, this is
you guys
one.
didn't see.
Yeah.
Incredible.
One, this is so unbelievably cool. And I mean, we'll put this up on the store if anybody wants to buy this. I don't know. Like it'd be really weird to go out in public and see somebody wearing a shirt with my face on it, but it'd be funny. But also like not to get like that, but I mean, we started this I started this 5 years ago and you jumped on like a couple months into it. And now there's people making a shirt with our fucking face. What a wild path.
It's incredible, man. It's a good shirt.
Holy
I wish
shit.
we were more famous so people would actually want it, but it's it's awesome.
This is so fun. Shout out Philip, legend there. All right. Next email from Philip. Speaking of wing or center, hey fellas, with the recent KP injury and your recent video explaining trades for Springer, I wonder if we could briefly revisit this topic. My original comment on your video was saying something to the effect that we probably still have more to worry about at center than wing. The KP injury cycles alongside Al's intermittent availability could be a real problem in the playoffs if we don't have a big that can space the floor. I feel in that series, teams will start helping off Cornette, Tillman, and Queta and throwing aggressive doubles at the Jays, which we have seen can stifle them. I don't think there are any legitimate 7-foot spacers we can add as a backup, so I'm wondering if you can discuss this a little. Before we get into this, I do want to say I think Cornette in particular has done a great job of filling in the dunker spot when aggressive doubles have come at JT, and so I'm not super concerned about that in the postseason, especially because as weird as it sounds, like they didn't really have Cornette for the playoffs last year too. He was dealing with injuries during the postseason quietly, so I think having him will be a little bit of a boost or more than people realize. That said, I do think you make a good point to the effect of it could be very useful to have another floor spacing big because, I mean, at least I was kind of hoping Tillman could be that, but he hasn't really proved it.
Hey, he's 1 for 1 in his last 3. His last 3-point shot, 1 for 1.
One of his last two. He's 50% in his last two, 50% last night against the Pacers.
You have 100% in his last one. Why would you even move the goalposts like that?
It's true. Well, because 50% last game sounds pretty good too. I like talking game to game, so I'm gonna take that. But anyways, to your point, I do think having a legit floor spacing big would be nice. However, I would rather have Luke Cornett spacing to the dunker spot with his solid defense than adding a floor spacing big who cannot defend, if that makes sense.
What if they just let Luke Cornett shoot threes? Just like one a game. Not even like, hey, shoot 3 of them. Like just like on one of the actions where Luke catches the ball on the wing and there's no big closing out on him, and he's doing a dribble handoff. Like they could just let him make an option out of that every once in a while. I think that would benefit them a little.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I don't think the Grizzlies would ever do it, but imagine the Celtics gave up a first for Santi Aldama. Bring Santi Aldama in here. Talk about a good fit, man.
I'm still thinking about Luke. Like they let Tatum shoot threes. You think they'd let him at least shoot 1?
Stop this. Question 1: do you agree that we need to add a center? Or are you still thinking to convert Peterson to pursue a wing? I'd still rather convert Peterson. I mean, after we answer these questions, I'm going to look through some of the contracts and like look specifically for floor spacing wings. But I would still lean Peterson. What do you think?
I also think Walsh looked pretty good yesterday. I'm on the recency bias with Jordan.
As in, you think he would be fine and they don't need to convert Peterson?
I think why not convert Peterson? Like the more the merrier. They have different skill sets. Like Joe kind of he was asked about it at the podium last night, why he went with Drew versus Cleveland and then Jordan versus the Pacers, and it's just a matchup thing. And listen, I think Drew Peterson really was ready for the moment when he went in a game that was a big game. Like that was a meaningful game. That was 1 versus 2 in the East, and he was ready off the bench. I think he's earned that opportunity to be a part of the team full time. I really think that it would be a good thing to convert him. I don't see why you wouldn't. And there's not for nothing. There's also nobody else out there that like they are just going to sign.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think converting Drew Peterson would be the way. Next one, if we need a center, would adding a non-shooting center even help? Nah, I don't think so. I think you have Luke, you have Cater here developing.
Unless it's Rob.
Yeah, or Tice. I'd be okay with Tice. And he can shoot.
Yeah, I would.
Yes. I'd be okay with Tice. Are there any larger shooting wings we could possibly add? I'm looking through right now. Not really. Like Amir Coffey, if the Clippers really wanted to give up on him, but I don't think they do. He's playing like 25 minutes a night for them. He's shooting 43% from 3. So I think they'd probably rather keep him around. But he's really good. Svi Mykhailiuk, if you want to bring Svi back.
I don't hate the Svi thing. He had a good game the other day.
Yeah, he's been hot lately. Low key, he's played in his last 3 games. He is, what is this? Let's see, 12 of 25 from 3. Hey, watch out!
I would not stick my nose up at that if they got Svi back.
I'd be okay with that. I like Svi. I could feel.
Think about all those bucket hats he made just to leave.
It's true.
What did those say? Somebody that are unsold. Boston Svi party. That was fire. Yeah. If he sticks around, he doesn't even need to sign a big contract. He'll make his money back by selling the hats.
Well, he's on a 4-year deal already, so he'd be around. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I like Svi. Yeah, there's not too much out there in terms of shooting wings, though. Philip, to answer your question, it's pretty slim pickings. I mean, Patrick Baldwin, but people are pretty low on him from what I've seen, so I don't think he'd be great. Garrison Matthews, if you wanted that. But next question.
Matt Ryan.
It's true. Matt Ryan. Or maybe we should do nothing and just need to stay the course. Yeah, I mean,
the two of us are ready. We've been on this fucking show for 5 years saying ready if needed, never get the call. And I still can, like, I'm joking, but I'm half serious. Like, I think the Celtics really should run a contest. Like, one fan gets to be on the team. Like, it would make no difference.
No. Absolutely not.
Just trot me out there for 2 minutes at the end of the game when they're up 30.
No, definitely don't do that. Yeah. I mean, there's not too much out there. Unironically, Gershon is probably your best option for a floor spacing big that's attainable. But even then, Philly's turning things around a little bit. So
And
I don't
Philly's
know
gonna
if
tell
they're
you to go
gonna.
fuck yourself anyways. They're not gonna
Yeah,
give you Gershon.
I don't think they do that. Philip says, thanks, Philip. P.S. On the Christmas stream, I was saying I got my HBTC merch and I was referring to your coffee mug and t-shirt. Oh, when you started opening your gift, my wife handed me a wrapped one too. It was so funny to be watching the pod and opening the same present at the same time. I had no idea. Thanks for humoring us. It was hilariously fun for me. Those shirts rock. I mean,
Yeah,
unironically, those shirts are
so
fucking
that was
sick.
my reaction. I was like, "Oh my god, this is fire!" Because Jack had seen it. He opened it on accident.
Yeah, cheated.
Didn't follow the instructions.
Correct.
But yeah, I think it's really cool.
Very sick. Thank you, Philip, and thank you, Kara. Last email. I blame Michael Jordan. RJ says, morning, folks. It was fun to see everyone contributing against the Pacers. It's taken a while, but it looks like the circle of trust might be expanding despite Michael Jordan. Okay, it's not really MJ's fault. It was whoever coined his early Bull squad, Michael and the Jordanaires, which led into people looking at them as the stars in their supporting cast. So instead of 5 players on the court using their different skills in 5-part harmony, way too many teams have 1 or 2 leads, and everyone else is singing backup vocals and doing hand claps. Last year, it took a while for Pritchard, Hauser, and Cornette to get the ball from their teammates. This year, the same thing has been happening with Walsh and Tillman, it seems. Yes, Tillman's getting scammed. Friday night, Walsh was being treated more like a teammate, getting natural opportunities in the flow of the game. RJ didn't mention Tillman's theory, but whatever. I hope we see more of the same Sunday. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I mean, Indy was picture perfect, as great as you can get. So good game. Let's check out the NBA standings quickly before getting into the rest of this stuff.
It's gonna be a long show today.
It is gonna be a long show. I realized we went on the emails for a long time, so it is what it is, though. Okay, my computer's moving very slowly, so excuse me as I try to pull the NBA standings up. But here we go. Cavs still in first place in the Eastern Conference. The gap between the Celtics and third place is now smaller than the gap between the Celtics and first. Celtics are 4 games behind the Cavs and only 2 games up on the Knicks, who are in third. The Knicks, who have figured things out very, very well after a slow start to the season. So I give them a ton of credit. Also, I wanted to say, because I saw this earlier, remember when the Cat trade went through and you were like, oh, I worry about their rebounding with iHeart gone. And I said, well, Cat was a great rebounder earlier in her career. I wonder if he can just turn that back on again.
Did I say rebounding or did I say the defense?
I think we were talking. I think rebounding was part of it too, because I vividly remember saying
I don't dispute that.
Cat was an incredible rebounder earlier in his career. I bet they'll have him get back to that. Cat now leads the league in rebounding, so
yeah,
pretty good step up for the Knicks. Magic still in 4th place. They are 4-6 in the last 10, obviously because they're missing a lot of their key guys, but still. Bucks in 5th, Heat in 6th. They are 6-4 in their last 10, turning things around a little bit. Tyler Hero is playing insanely well. Could have an all-star bid this year. Hawks in 7th, still above 500 by 1 game. Then you got Pacers, Pistons, Bulls rounding out the play-in. Philly is charging up 7-3 in their last 10. And then you got the Nets, who have fallen into the capture the flag race, which they're probably thrilled about. Hornets, Raptors, Wizards closing out the bottom.
I guess while we're doing I told you so's, I wasn't going to do this, but I did tell you that they were going to lose on Christmas.
You did tell me they were going to lose on Christmas.
You did. I just don't think they're going to win today. Also, I told you so's Pistons have now matched their win total from last season. They won 14 games this season. They've won 3 in a row. They look pretty good over the last couple weeks. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They have room to improve. They've swept the Lakers. It's a real shame that they've swept the Lakers on the season, the Pistons. A lot of buzz around them. The Athletic just did a feature talking about how just the vibes are a little bit different now that they're winning. Pretty cool. Happy to see it. Hope to see them successful. I don't think they have to play the Celtics again, which is pretty good for them. It's a benefit. We'll see. We'll see how high they are able to climb in the standings. I think it's pretty exciting. Celtics and Bucks, same record in the last 10. I really thought Milwaukee was playing a little bit better than they are. I think that was just from the propaganda of like, hey, they're not losing every game anymore. They're back. And we're all like, sky is falling. Celtics been ass, but they're still above 500 in their last 10. And like I said, Pistons have looked good, but they're still 5-5. Like the Pistons would love to be 6-4 in their last 10. That just take that perspective as a Celtics fan, how fortunate we all are to support this team.
Yeah, I was wrong with the Pistons. They're better than I thought they would be this year. Cade's been having a great season. I will say, I think I'm gonna get a lot of shit from my Raptors take from before the season.
They're still think injured. The Raptors, I held off.
Yes. I still think the Raptors would be a play-in team if they were healthy. But They're not healthy, and so I'm going to eat crow on that for now.
I had the option to be like, I told you so about the Raptors too, but I'm not because they're hurt.
They've been very hurt. A lot of the role players have been hurt. But
Scotty has been hurt.
Scotty has been hurt as well. But RJ's playing really well. He's having a good season. Grady Dick's been great this season. Ochai Agbaji's been fucking awesome this season. I'm still holding my Raptors stock moving forward, but they were hurt this year, so they couldn't prove me right yet. Out west, Thunder, 24-5. They're insane. They're really, really good. Grizzlies in second place in the West. Then you got the Rockets, Mavs, Clippers, Lakers rounding out the top 6. Nuggets, Timberwolves, Spurs, Suns. The Warriors have fallen all the way out of the play-in. They're now 500. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They're in shambles. And the Kings are at 13-18. They are as close to the Blazers as they are to 11th place. And then you got Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans.
I guess we can just stick with the Kings. I don't have a whole lot to say about the rest of the West.
Run it. Mike Brown got fired.
Yes, Mike Brown gone. Surprising to all of us. The obvious scapegoat is always the head coach in the NBA.
So
Is how it
fucking
goes.
lame. So lame.
I'll let you talk about this because I think you're more passionate about it than I am. I still think it's stupid. Like I'm not clowning anybody that cares about this. Go ahead, Jack.
I mean, you say it all the time. It is so unbelievably cringe and lame that coaches get blamed first. Mike Brown won Coach of the Year 2 years ago. He is one of the biggest reasons why this dog shit, embarrassing Kings organization made the playoffs for the first time in 16 fucking years. And they struggle a little bit to start the gate this year. And he's out. He's out as head coach. We're not going to look at the front office and say, maybe this roster isn't good enough to compete in a loaded Western Conference. Maybe we didn't make good enough moves. We're going to blame the guy who has won not one, but 2 Coach of the Year awards in his NBA career. He's won it twice. Like, this is a guy who everyone regarded as one of the best coaches in the league, like, for the last 3 years. And now he's out, and now he's not a head coach anymore. Mike Malone said it best, because the extra context here is they didn't just fire him normally. He ran a whole practice. He ran 20 minutes of media availability. Then he was in his car on the way to the team plane for their flight to LA, and they called him and fired him. Mike Malone said it best. He goes, I was fired by those same people, so I'm not surprised, but no class, no balls. I fucking love Mike Malone. He tells it how it is. This is a dog shit organization, a dog shit move. They lost 5 in a row, including one bad foul by De'Aaron Fox that let the Pistons get a win. I mean, just ridiculous, impulsively stupid decision. And now they're going to have Doug Christie be the interim head coach, who I don't know much about Doug Christie, but like, is that really going to change it? Doug Christie leading the way instead of Mike Brown is going to turn their season around? So fucking stupid.
I got to look it up. Hold on. I didn't have this thought until now.
What?
Is Doug Christie the color guy for their broadcast?
No, he's a coach.
Who's the color guy for the Kings broadcast? Before joining the Kings as assistant coach, Christie spent 4 seasons as the team's full-time color analyst from 2017 to 21. So, let's see. He's been an assistant for a while, though. Okay, so I wasn't tripping. I knew he was on the broadcast, but it would have been really funny. Like, that would be the clone of the Celtics being like, all right, Scal, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, he's also a 15-year NBA veteran. So he is like...
Oh, I'm not saying he's just some guy. I knew he was a vet. But, like, again, Scal was in the league, I think, for like 10 years. So,
yes. I understand. It's so stupid, man. It's so fucking dumb.
It is ridiculous. And you said it. I say it all the time. It's very lazy to get rid of the coaches. Rick Carlisle kind of was talking about it a little bit before the game last night, where he was like, listen, this is kind of how it goes in the NBA. And he was asked about it, and he was talking about it as a relationship building league. Like, it's where relationships will keep you safe. And
yeah. I mean, Rick Carlisle's prompt or quote on Mike Brown was completely...
I made it an hour.
Yeah. I was saying Rick Carlisle's rant on Mike Brown was completely unprompted too. Like it's very clear
Correct.
this guy was super well liked around the league. It's just I don't know, man. It's so dumb. I just don't get it. It's kind of
There's no, I
ridiculous.
mean, you can't really do anything else but fire the coach at times too, because there's no penalty for firing a coach. You don't
but
like
make a
if
trade. Do something that does like he's not the problem.
there's
It's so
no risk.
painfully obvious he's
There's
not
no
the
risk
problem.
to firing Mike Brown. The worst thing that happens is what is happening now, where people are like dumb organization, trash, whatever. If you make a trade out of like a reflex to playing poorly or the season not starting the way you want, and it blows up in your face, it's 10 times worse, more than 10 times. It's like if you give up De'Aaron Fox for pennies on the dollar because teams know you want to trade him, it's going to bite you in the ass for years. That's something that's going to take years and years to
Well,
recover from if you don't get that right.
it doesn't have to be that big of a trade. Like make fringe moves. It's just such a cop out bullshit response to their struggles. It's so
It is,
so
but
stupid.
there aren't these teams in the NBA. Like I don't know what the solution is. I was talking to Bobby about
Fire the
this.
front
Bobby
office.
Kowalski at the game.
Why
Fire the
doesn't the
front
GM get
office.
fired?
Fine.
Why doesn't the GM
fine,
get fired?
Fine. There's no penalty for that. I don't disagree. With that. But I was saying, like, what if they added the coaching salary to the salary cap? And he was like, well, then the coaches would just not get paid anything, which is true.
It's true.
But like, if there was some sort of like if you still had to have that salary hindering your team from getting better, rather than just like, oh, Mike Brown's getting paid not to work now, which is not a bad deal, by the way. Like, not bad.
Well, then
Everybody's talking about Mike Brown like he died yesterday, but like he really got like the best thing ever. He's getting millions of dollars not to work. That's pretty good.
If I paid you to not do this podcast, would you take the money?
So
exactly. Exactly.
You pay me not to do my real job, yes. But
yeah, but if I pay you to do this,
it is different. I'm joking.
Exactly.
But not bad. Getting paid not to work is still not bad. Depending on how much you paid me not to do the podcast.
Fuck you. No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, it's just I think it's shitty. I think it's lame. I think it's a cop out, and I think the Kings are a joke, as they always have been. But next thing, more Jimmy Butler stuff, because I think this could get ugly very, very fast.
He is ugly, to be honest.
So
it's ugly.
Yeah. Shams tweeted that Butler would prefer to be traded before the deadline. And then Pat Riley came out with a statement. We usually don't comment on rumors, but this is all speculation but all the speculation has become a distraction to the team. It is not fair to the players and coaches. Therefore, we will make it clear we are not trading Jimmy Butler. Now, if what Shams says is true and Jimmy wants to be traded, then this could turn into Timberwolves 2.0 very, very quickly. That's what I'll say.
I was actually thinking about Jimmy the other day. I was thinking about the Timberwolves. And he essentially did the Timberwolves practice, but in real life, like in like the actual NBA season, when he took that Heat team to the finals, the fucking just taking the bench and running through everybody. He did that to all the Eastern Conference teams.
Tobias Harris over me. He just fucking said, "See ya."
But this is so strange because the contradictory news that's coming out, and also the looming contract, like. I don't know what the right move is here. I think from a team perspective, you don't want to lose him for nothing. I think you also don't want to lose him, but you also don't want to keep him for too much. Like it's a very difficult line to walk. There's more than two options now. There's a third option of like if you do keep him and it's too much money, then you're not going to be able to win either. And with the new CBA, that's just going to be like restricting you even more. I don't think Jimmy's going to be worth whatever the next contract he gets is. At least not for the whole thing. I think it's going to turn into what Dame has, and you're looking at it and you're like, damn, they shouldn't have paid him that. I don't know if it's going to be as drastic as Dame, but
I was going to say
Jimmy's in his mid-30s now. It's tough to be like, I think he's going to be overvalued at the same time because I think Jimmy is the best playoff riser in the NBA, and that is valuable in itself. If he's 37 and he's able to turn up for 2 months at the end of the year, then he's still going to be a motherfucker. The problem that Miami's looking at now is if they get rid of Jimmy, their team probably isn't competitive enough to be in the mix with just Hero and Bam. If they don't get someone substantial back, then that is going to ring even more true. There aren't many packages around the league that you think are worth it. And there's probably not that many teams around the league that are willing to give up whatever the salary is to gut their team to get Jimmy, who may leave in the summer. Because even if he is traded somewhere he likes, it's been reported that he's going to test the market no matter what. It doesn't mean he's going to leave, but he's going to leave the door open for somebody to come in and wow him. And again, at this point of his career, I'm hesitant to pay him. And if you're making that more of a possibility by it's going to be a bidding war, I don't really want to give up guys and then have to go into a bidding war for a guy that I'm not certain that I want to pay.
That's why I want, and I will also say, we don't know what's 100% true and what's not 100% true. Jimmy saying that could just be his ploy to get to where he wants, which we don't know. Regardless, this is why I think literally any of the 3 Texas teams would be good fits for Jimmy Butler, because 2 out of 3 of them are competitive on their own without Jimmy Butler. They are already high-level playoff teams, one of which was in the finals last year, and the third, i.e. the Spurs, has a very clear pathway in Victor Wembanyama to be a very competitive high-level playoff team in the next year. So adding Jimmy Butler at a cost, especially considering most of the top stars and the guys leading those teams are 22 to 25, paying Jimmy Butler for that many years is not going to kill you. In my opinion, it can make you a lot better. I think the risk is a lot lower than the reward could be, right? Because you think about it, Jimmy Butler, couple years with Victor Wembanyama, help him get some playoff experience, and then if you want to trade that, sure. If not, build out the team around him with young pieces. Mavs, you already got a very clear winning formula with Luka and Kyrie. You bring in Jimmy to be a playoff performer, a defender, a leader. You run it from there, and then he's gone in X amount of years. The Rockets, you already got a very clear identity of hustle, of grit, of defense. Jimmy would contribute to that beautifully. You've got a nice young core that can lead you past the Jimmy years anyways. He can give them the experience. Boom, you roll from there. So I think those Texas teams are probably the best fits around the NBA for Jimmy Butler. The issue with the Heat is, what's their ceiling with Jimmy Butler? And maybe they make another one of these miracle runs. But if you're Miami, would you rather just, okay, let's move on. Let's focus on the Hero Bam movement, because Hero looks like an all-star this year, right? Just genuinely he does. And maybe you just say, hey, we're going to get what we can get for Jimmy and move on. I don't know. It's just a weird situation, especially because we don't know what's 100% true and what's not. So
it is so strange. Speaking of strange, I'm just looking at the picture that Wemby posted of him playing chess in the park.
Yeah.
He's got, the Avengers behind him. He just tweeted today. He was like, hey, pull up to the park. I'm playing chess. And all these people just showed up. The best reply was the one Corrales shared it. I don't know if you saw. He's like, hey, come to the southwest corner of Washington Square Park. I'm be playing chess. Some guy just replies, how do we know it's you?
Yeah. Very funny. Yes. Okay, next thing is the triple ejection in Suns Mavs. I just thought it would be fun to watch it. Did you see this fight?
Pull it up. I've seen the pictures. I didn't see the clip, so you're gonna get my full attention, reaction, whatever. I deliberately don't watch things just in case you want to show me on the show.
Yeah, that's why. So what happened was, I forget who was it that got shoved. Daniel Gafford caught an elbow from Nurkic, and then Naji Marshall and PJ Washington took it upon themselves to defend him. So this is the clip of what went down.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, 2 offensive fouls on Nurkic. He got.
I'm going to delay watching. Oh, you're back. Sorry, you froze. I wasn't sure if you were going to see
I know.
You were frozen. Okay, here you go. Here's the clip. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, 2 offensive fouls on Nurkic. He got his left arm.
It's funny, the reaction isn't immediate.
Gafford.
Oh, here. Oh!
Naji Marshall and Jusuf Nurkic, there probably are going to be ejected. There might be a suspension moving forward.
Yeah, so they took swings. Naji Marshall and Nurkic each took swings, or Nurkic took a swing first, and then Marshall took it. And then PJ Washington pushed Nurkic down, so all 3 of them got ejected. Also, this was Naji Marshall on Instagram. Someone said weak ass punch. Naji Marshall said, so come stand in front of one. Somebody said strike one for Marshall, swing and a miss. These basketball players can't fight for shit. And then he said, let me try on you then. So Naji Marshall wants all the smoke. Naji Marshall, who changed his Twitter header to him punching Jusuf Nurkic in the face, all of which is just very entertaining. Yeah, very
Listen,
funny.
man, there's I would be very curious to like just talk to players and let them be anonymous on Nurkic. I feel like Nurkic is always in some bullshit where he's pissing people off and getting in scuffles. I know Draymond's had run-ins with him because he's a white European guy, which Draymond just apparently hates all of them. But I feel like it is not uncommon for Nurkic to be in some kind of scuffle for being an irritant. I was actually kind of surprised the thing didn't break out as soon as he elbowed/shouldered the defender, Gafford. Yeah, I don't know. You have on here that Kyrie's paying the fines. Respectable move.
Yeah,
Rare W.
he is paying the fines. Good for Kyrie. All right.
Speaking of Mavs.
Yeah, speaking of Mavs, Luka Doncic is going to be out for around a month while he deals with a calf strain that he had to get an MRI on.
In there.
Kawhi, on top of that, another injury update is Kawhi is targeting January 4th for his season debut. And I'll say, if he looks anything like a real Kawhi, that's going to be a good Clippers team. Even if he looks like 50% of a real Kawhi, like that Clippers team that is already pretty good is going to be pretty good.
I think it's kind of fun too because just more competition in the West. Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love to see teams the Celtics don't really have to work?
I agree. For those listening, Sam reset his Wi-Fi like 7 different ways before the podcast.
You can't say anything to that. I put the work in. I
tried. Just
we made it an hour. It gets a little tuckered out. It gets a little fatigued. I don't have much to say. I think Kawhi coming back is fun. I'm excited to see him get to play against the Celtics. I'm curious to see how healthy he's going to be. We may be over the hump of Kawhi being able to be healthy. We talked about injury prone, not injury prone in the Porzingis video, and I just think his body is so wear and torn down that it's just like, man, he's going to be able to play for a little bit, but it might not work. I just feel like there's so much that goes into health that we all don't know about, and it's tough to completely predict. But yeah, another star finally coming back.
Yeah, and then Luka's going to be out for a while. I think that the Mavs will be fine. I think they have a pretty good enough roster to deal with it without him out, but that's definitely a big loss for them, especially considering they're fighting for the top of the West.
I think I said it to Bobby yesterday. It would be really funny if all these guys that are MVP candidates missed enough games where they couldn't get it, and like Tatum got it, so everyone could be like Mickey Mouse MVP.
That would be funny.
It would be so on brand.
I don't think Jokic is going to miss enough games, so I think Tatum's cooked.
Wait till they tell me he can go play the horses or something.
Actually, I mean, that is unless you think if the Nuggets are a play-in team, Jokic still wins MVP.
No, because I also think there's an element of voter fatigue.
I do. I think he'll still win it if he's a play-in team, and then it'll be a real stink. Anyways, let's jump over to the rat list here. Sam, what do you have?
Rat list is exchange. I had this dude at the store today, man. So I went in and I went to buy eggs because I was all out of eggs. I like making breakfast at home now. Now that my girlfriend taught me how to season food, it's not bad to make it here. So
wait, what do you season with?
Parsley, pepper, and salt.
Okay, parsley. So just salt.
It's good.
She taught you how to use. I'm not laughing because it's not good. I'm laughing because she taught you to use salt and pepper.
We would make breakfast, and I'd be like, "This is good." And she'd be like, "Here's how I did it." I used to just slap the egg, not scramble it. I would put it on the frying pan. I would eat it over hard, and then I would put like whatever, like cheap meat and cheese on the sandwich. I had whatever egg and cheese.
I'm laughing, but I also did learn in the past year that like salt and pepper makes a fucking difference, bro.
It's in our genes. We don't know about seasoning, but nonetheless, I had to buy more eggs today, and I checked the thing to see if it was cracked, and this one looked like it might have been cracked or something. It's something wrong with it. So the guy like stocking the shelves was like, "Hey, like here's a fresh one, whatever." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." He was like, "Yeah, you don't need to go home and have them yell at you." And I was like, "Oh, like I'm 26, sir. I'm growing up my facial hair. You don't need to assume anything about my age." Jack saw yesterday. Everybody was telling me how great my beard looked. You just can't see it on camera because my hair is blonde. Then I'm also like putting the other one back, and this other guy just busts into the scene like Kramer, and he's like, Yeah, don't listen to what they tell you about brown eggs. The white ones are the best. I was like, what the fuck is going on in this store? I got to get out of here. It was just a bizarre exchange to have today.
Just
I
talking
was
too
like,
much.
yeah, I was like, I don't think anything of the eggs. I think when you crack the egg is the same on the inside. It does not matter what the shell looks like.
What is the difference?
I honestly think the guy might have been a little racist. If we're,
Oh,
who am I to say?
the only difference between brown and white eggs is the color of their shell.
He literally was like, don't listen to what they tell you about brown eggs. And I didn't really hear him at the start, and I was wearing a Celtics hat. And I was like, oh, he's talking about Jaylen Brown. Like, let me give him the time of the day. And he was like, white eggs are better. I was like, all right, man. Sure.
Rat list my advent calendar. Because I put my advent calendar in my
if you
backpack.
would remember or not.
And there's now chocolate in the USB ports on my computer. And it's not good. It's bad.
So those of you listening like haven't gotten the full experience. The best part about this is this has happened to Jack twice now, and it has become apparent to Jack in the same place, in the press conference room. We're sitting like 2 feet from where Joe Mazzulla is about to be sitting, and Jack's like, fuck, I got chocolate in my USB port. He sits next to me yesterday. He's like, my computer's getting hot. The shit's starting to melt. I don't know what to do. Yeah. I wonder if you're the first person to ever have chocolate in the USB port. You got to be one of the top like first 10.
Surely I can't be the first one. There's no way. I don't believe that.
It's just so ridiculous. Such a ridiculous thing to have happen. It's not really your fault. I don't think you had like I think you had good reason to be bringing the calendar in the backpack. I don't think you did anything wrong. It's just so funny that this is what is happening to you right now. Is you have to consistently worry about chocolate getting into your computer.
Yeah, it's not fun, but that's all right.
He was getting on his shoes yesterday. He was on his shoes, his sock, and the bottom of his pants. He was pissed.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
What
else you got?
Rat list the parking meters in Boston. So yesterday I drove in. Shout out to Corrales, gave me a great parking tip. I don't think I'm ever going to have to pay for parking again because I have so many different spaces I can look now for parking to where I think I'm just going to eventually be driving in the right spot to find a space.
Do you have to parallel park? I assume.
Yeah, parallel parking is not that hard.
I hate parallel parking.
It's not hard, especially when it saves you $50. It's really
easy. Sure.
But anyways, I park at the meter yesterday, and the meter that I park at, for whatever reason, the parking hours are 8 to 8 instead of 8 to 6. Typically, for those of you that don't know, meters are usually till 6 p.m. Even in Boston, the other meters I would park at are 6 p.m. meters. After that, you don't have to pay. You don't have to worry about it. I'm like, all right, whatever. I put my credit card in. It acknowledges that I put my credit card in. It's like remove quickly. And then it's just like session expired. Does not give me the option to pay at the meter. To be like, hey, we took his money. He can park here. Now, there is an option to scan the QR code and go pay on the website, which is fine. I proceed to do this. The problem is I parked at 5 p.m. So my parking expires at 7 p.m. We're about to do the pregame show. And I'm like, I got to renew the parking. The website's like, you cannot renew this parking. There's a 2-hour limit on the parking space. Fucking grow up. If I'm going to pay you, what difference does it make if I pay you or somebody else pay you for this space? It makes no difference. Anyways, I'm like nervous the whole night now. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, am I going to get a ticket? Or worse, am I going to get towed? Nothing. No ticket. Nothing. But rat list the unnecessary angst that I was caused because the city of Boston would not take the credit card I was putting into the meter. It was like, hey, yes, you did put a credit card in. It wasn't like, hey, we can't read the card or, hey, this isn't authorized. It was like, hey, no, we see you. We're just fuck off. We don't want your money. We want to give you a ticket so we can charge you more money. And then
did they get a ticket? Did you get a ticket?
No ticket.
Good.
We want somebody else's money after 2 hours. We don't want your money again. What difference does it make to you? Just let me pay you again.
Yeah.
And also, while I'm at it, they need to get rid of the fucking spaces that become cab stands after a certain hour. It's 2024. Nobody's taking a fucking cab. They're calling Uber. Be fucking for real, Boston.
I'll anti-rat list my dad because he got me a Christmas gift this year, and shout out my mom too. She got me a bunch of good Christmas gifts. I got a bunch of like Noah Khan shirts. I got some other fun stuff, some nice clothes, a really nice fucking jacket. This one right there, back there. I was like walking the garden sweating because it was so warm. Great jacket.
I saw your jacket yesterday, and I kind of
Nice.
just was like, is that the jacket he always has? Like, I didn't make a comment. You have a jacket like the one I got from the news station. Fire jacket. I keep it at my desk at work. It's massive. I just wrap myself up and sit there. It's fantastic. They have like a thermal, like tinfoil-esque lining. Look at that. That is prime right there.
It's so nice. Shout out my mom.
Yes.
The warmest fucking thing I own. And it doesn't feel warm. Like you don't feel it and be like, oh, this is gonna be warm. Keeps you motherfucking warm. And the pockets are great too. So shout out my mom, Anti-Rat Lister. This is a great Christmas present. And then my dad, I've been cooking more lately as I've moved out. Well, I need to try to cook
This
more
is
lately.
when Jack learned to season.
Yes. He got me a Gordon Ramsay pan. So like it is Gordon Ramsay's cookware company that produce like pans and stuff like that. And excuse me, I just want to show you this pan that he got me. It is called a Hexclad pan. So this is non-stick, non-scratch, like you like scrape a fork or a knife on the bottom, it doesn't scratch. You put stuff in there, it doesn't stick. Like it is like
Probably
as
gives you cancer.
pan as you can buy. What do you
Pretty sure they said that about the like back in the day they would use Teflon to make it not stick. That's why I said that. It's not completely random.
What is wrong with you? No,
I just
this
ruined
is-
Christmas.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. No, this is such a nice pan. I've used it like 3 times in the last few days. They also really random. I made this this chicken sandwich for myself the other day, like grilled chicken, tomatoes, lettuce, onion, American cheese on top of the chicken on toast. It was great. Have you ever had Sweet Baby Ray's chicken sauce?
I've never had the chicken sauce. I've had their honey mustard and also the barbecue.
Ray's chicken sauce. Need to try.
Probably no Chef Lamont pineapple glaze.
It is. No, when I tell you this is like the best sauce I've ever had on like chicken or anything, like I used it for my hash browns this morning to dip in. Like you got like this shit is real. Like you got to try it. Highly recommend. But
all right.
Anyways, I don't got anything.
That's it. I don't have anything else. I think that's a good close.
All right. We can leave there.
As I cough
Anyways.
in the mic like an idiot.
Yeah, great work. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Bout Them Celtics. Here, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Give us a follow on Spotify, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you are feeling ahead of Celtics Pacers. Tell us whether or not you think Jackson will get cancer from his pan. You can also hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content for you. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. So there will be one tomorrow morning for you. And we have other videos up on the channel on the days in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. Make sure, again, that you subscribe. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there for you. So I think you can even comment on Spotify now. So do that. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much. It helps us in the algorithm. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You saw all the emails today. We read them every time we do a full pod. I believe we're going to have 3 full pods for you next week. We may not with New Year's. It's a wonky day. But once the holidays are completely done with, we are here reading them 3 times a week. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JackSimone NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tacko, come on.